All right, let's talk about awakening. First, I just want to again pitch our book real quick, The Embodiment Protocol. You could find it on Amazon. Take a look as it relates to a lot of the material that I share here, and I hope you find it valuable. So let's get into it. How do I define awakening and why I think it matters? All right, again, I've made a lot of videos on awakening, and I've noticed something important. We use the word a lot, but we rarely stop to define it. And different teachers, which again, I don't consider myself a teacher, right? Just somebody that's sharing their thoughts. But to different teachers, it could mean different things when they say awakening. So I want to share not the definition, but my working definition based on my lived experience. You don't have to agree with it. It's simply the clearest way I found to describe what first became undeniably true for me. So, to me, awakening is not an achievement, right? It's not a peak state, and it's not something you earn. Awakening is the recognition that I am not the content of my experiences, not my thoughts, not my emotions, not my history, not my roles, not my pain, not even my spiritual identity, right? There is an awareness in which all of that appears and disappears. And for the first time, identity shifts into that recognition, right? Not as a philosophy, but as a lived, unmistakable knowing. And I think because of that, you don't stop thinking. That's a huge myth. But thinking loosens its grip on who you think you are. And the thoughts are more of drifting by like clouds, right? You don't stop feeling, but feelings no longer define you. You don't lose your story. You just stop mistaking the story for yourself, for who you are. You're not your story. So nothing is taken away, but one misunderstanding begins to dissolve, and that's confusing experience with identity, right? So when I talk about awakening, I'm not talking about becoming spiritually special, like I'm awakened and others aren't, right? Or chasing higher states or bypassing ordinary human life, which I see a lot of. We're here to experience this reality, so experience. So what I'm talking about is a shift in orientation from being completely submerged in the storm to discovering there is a sky, not as an escape, but as a new relationship to life. And this is important, right? This recognition is not the end of the journey either. Like I help people taste that awakening, get a glimpse of it, but that's just the beginning of a different kind of living. Because once this is seen, the real work becomes, and that's embodiment. Learning how to live honestly from that recognition, learning how the nervous system catches up, learning how the subconscious reorganizes, learning how to love without hiding behind some spiritual identity. And yes, there's levels, right? And there's an even deeper realization beyond this when where the observer falls away, right? But this first shift alone can free someone from a lifetime of unconscious suffering. So that's my working definition. Not absolute, not final, just what feels real, honest, and grounded from where I stand. And what you do with it, that's where the real journey begins. Open your feedback in the comments.